he fell as far as he did in the draft. Now, was it the best draft class ever? No, but the dude can play. He has a real NBA skill set. In fact, Dalton Knecht set the record for Lakers rookie threes made in a game with 9. Think about how deep Lakers history is and how many talented players have come through. Dalton Knecht set the record for threes made in a game as a rookie. That's pretty damn impressive. He's a very, very talented player, can certainly shoot the ball, can score, is a 3-level scorer. Worth seeing him thrown in a lot of trade packages, the hypothetical deals that get put out there consistently, I think in part because the Lakers already traded him once. They traded him for Mark Williams and then ultimately didn't wind up going through with that deal.
Hello everyone, let's have more news about the Lakers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. NBA Trade Idea sends $186 million star to Lakers for Austin Reeves. Despite making a move for young superstar Luka Doncic at the trade deadline, the Los Angeles Lakers fell far short of expectations in this year's playoffs. Led by Doncic and LeBron James, the Lakers still lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. After trading away Anthony Davis to acquire Doncic, the Lakers had a gaping hole in their front court that ultimately cost them their season, and now their off-season priority is obvious. The Lakers desperately need a new center, and they are reportedly willing to part ways with rising star guard Austin Reeves to get there. The Lakers will reportedly only trade away Austin Reeves if it is for a star big man, per Los Angeles Times' Dan Wojcik. Austin Reeves is not viewed as untradeable because almost no one in the NBA is untradeable. But if the Lakers are going to trade him for a center, they're going to want one that is foundationally important. A build-around type and not a fill-in toward the obvious need they have at center and will need to address in other ways, Wojcik wrote. There are not many elite big men on the market, but if they are looking for a star to put alongside Doncic and James, they could look within the division. Sacramento Kings star Domantas Sabonis could be on the market this offseason with new general manager Scott Perry leading the franchise, and the Lakers could be a potential buyer for the 3-time All-Star. In this blockbuster trade idea, the Kings send Sabonis to the Lakers for Reeves and a handful of valuable assets. Los Angeles Lakers receive Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter. Sacramento Kings receive Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith 2031 unprotected first-round pick. In this deal, the Kings walk away with the 26-year-old Lakers god who took his game to the next level this season. In his 4th year, Reeves averaged 20.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 1.1 steals per game with 46.0, 37.7, 87.7 shooting splits. Along with Reeves, the Kings would receive 2 valuable wing defenders in Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith. New GM Scott Perry has made it a priority to add length and athleticism on the perimeter this offseason, and this trade would give him that along with a valuable playmaker in Reeves. Sabonis may not be the exact center the Lakers are looking for, but the 2-time All-NBA big man is a proven star in this league and could be a great piece alongside Doncic and James. This season, Sabonis averaged 19.1 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 6.0 assists per game with 59.0, 41.7, 75.4 shooting splits. James is entering his 23rd year in the NBA, and Doncic cannot do everything on offense, so having a big man who can be a playmaker and an interior presence could be ideal. Of course, a trade like this would likely be much more complicated with some rotating pieces, but a deal centered around a Sabonis for Reeves swap could benefit both sides enough to warrant an in-division trade. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
To trade him this summer. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the LakersNation.com YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe right here. Now, no question, the Lakers, they need to make some changes this summer, particularly at the center position. Everybody knows they need to land a center, and most likely they're going to have to do it on the trade market. We want to take a look at the free agent center options that are out there. Well, there's not a whole lot. Miles Turner, probably not really available in the Eastern Conference Finals right now with the Indiana Pacers. Naz Reid, again, probably not available. Will be a great get for the Lakers. That brings us to guys like Steven Adams, Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, all of them north of 30. Are any of them guys that you're super excited about having as your starting center? Probably not. They're not the long-term fit next to Luka that the Lakers are going to be looking for. Nonetheless, potentially some good fallback options there in case you can't find the right deal. It's important that those guys are out there on the market. So potentially you could go into the season with maybe a Clint Capella for a taxpayer mid-level if there simply is not a good trade option out there. Al Horford, maybe he becomes a little bit more available now that the Boston Celtics are probably going to look to break up their roster now that they got bounced in the second round. God, see, it brings a smile to my face just saying it. The Boston Celtics got bounced in the second round. Absolutely love that. But the bottom line, there's not a whole lot out there in free agency. And then when we look at the Lakers trade assets, this is where we ultimately land on Dalton Connect, really, in a lot of these trade situations, right? According to Dan Wicke of the LA Times, rival scouts and executives view the Lakers' best non-Austin Reeves assets as their 2031 first-round pick, Dalton Connect, and the expiring contract. So people will immediately jump to, well, just trade Austin. We've talked about that already this week, that the Lakers still hold the view that Austin Reeves, if they're going to trade him, they need to get back a, quote, foundational piece, is what Wicke had, an all-star level player, somebody good. It needs to be a significant upgrade, needs to be somebody that you're going to build around at the center position if you're going to use Austin Reeves in a trade to get a center. Now, right or wrong, you may agree with that, you may disagree with that. That's the Lakers thinking, and that has not changed. That's nothing new. I'm surprised that people are surprised about this. That's nothing new. That's been the Lakers thinking with Austin Reeves for a few years now, the way they've looked at him. I still think they need to be more considerate of Austin Reeves trade packages this summer, simply because of the contract situation where Reeves can hit free agency, not this summer, but next summer in 2026, as he looks to cash in on a new deal. But again, he could also just leave the Lakers. That's dangerous, and that's why I think the Lakers have to be more open than they've been in the past to trade opportunities. But nonetheless, right now, word is that they're not strongly considering Austin Reeves trades unless they're bringing in an all-star or foundational level piece. So that brings us back to Dalton Connect, the 2031 first-round pick, and the expiring contracts. And the expiring contracts that we're talking about Maxi Kleber, we're talking about primarily Gabe Vincent. Those are the pieces that we're looking at as expiring contracts for the Lakers. Rui Hachimura, also an expiring contract, but I think the Lakers will prioritize keeping Rui over keeping Gabe Vincent or Maxi Kleber right now. So that's something to consider as well. You do have that $18 million expiring contract for Rui Hachimura. Dorian Finney-Smith could be an expiring if he picks up his player option, but we don't know exactly where that's going to go just yet. The Lakers can also extend him. They can also extend Rui. They'll offer an extension to Austin Reeves. Maxi and Gabe are both extension eligible as well, but I believe the Lakers will keep those two as trade chips and as expiring contracts. But Dalton Connect is a name that frequently gets thrown into trades, and I don't know that we should be so quick to move on from the hot shooting young player. You know, he's was a 17th pick last year in the draft, and the Lakers were ecstatic that they got him for a reason. It was a shock that he fell as far as he did in the draft. Now, was it the best draft class ever? No, but the dude can play. He has a real NBA skill set. In fact, Dalton Connect set the record for Lakers rookie threes made in a game with 9. Think about how deep Lakers history is and how many talented players have come through. Dalton Connect set the record for threes made in a game as a rookie. That's pretty damn impressive. He's a very, very talented player, can certainly shoot the ball, can score, is a 3-level scorer. Worth seeing him thrown in a lot of trade packages, the hypothetical deals that get put out there consistently, I think in part because the Lakers already traded him once. They traded him for Mark Williams and then ultimately didn't wind up going through with that deal, and Connect made his way back to LA. But that doesn't mean that the Lakers don't value him or shouldn't value him. They thought they were getting their starting center for the next 5 years plus in Mark Williams. And then obviously things came up in the medicals. I frankly thought they overpaid on the deal to get Mark Williams, but things came up in his physical and the trade got rescinded. But Dalton Connect is still a valuable player. He is far from being a throw-in. And people will also point to, well, he didn't play in the playoffs. And if he can't play in the playoffs, then what good is he? And that's where I would remind people that players are not static. Players are not just what they are forever. Players grow, players develop, players change. Look at former Laker and current Mavs head coach Jason Kidd. When he came into the NBA, he was a non-shooter, could not shoot the three. Wasn't his thing, wasn't what he did. By the end of his career, that's all he did on the offensive end, aside from, of course, pass the ball, was shoot their games. They grow, they develop over time, especially when we're talking about young players, rookies. So it's not out of the question for Dalton Connect's defensive deficiencies to improve. In fact, I would expect that Dalton Knecht will get better on the defensive side of the ball. Now, will he ever be a true plus defensive player? I don't know if I can go that far. Obviously, there's some issues there. Physically, athletically, he should be an okay defender. He tests well in things like the shuttle run and things like that in the pre-draft combine last year, but he struggles very much on the defensive side of the ball, and that kept him from being played in the postseason. So can he grow there? Can he get better there? Yes. And if you believe that Dalton Knecht can at any point get to where he's even a slightly below average, right? That's all we're asking for, a low bar, a slightly below average defensive player. He could be a real weapon for a Lakers team that struggled with off the bench scoring. We saw it in the playoffs. We saw it in the regular season. They didn't have a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket coming off the bench. And I very strongly believe that Dalton Knecht could be that guy. He could be the solution to that problem for the Lakers, already sitting there on the roster. Now, of course, all of this begs the question, what are you going to give up then if it's not, they're not going to trade Austin Reeves. And if we're talking about Dalton Knecht, why he could be a valuable piece for this team moving forward, well, what else do you have to give up? And that's really the challenge for the Lakers. Do they want to give up that 2031 first-round pick? Would they prioritize keeping that, or would they prioritize keeping Dalton Knecht? That's certainly a big question, because the bottom line is that you have to give up something. And maybe that's ultimately where we land here, that the Lakers, they simply have to give up something, and it winds up being Dalton Knecht. That's the piece that moves out. But look, even as a rookie this year, and he's an older rookie, but still as a starter, when he got starting opportunities 16 times over the course of the season, Dalton Knecht, he produced 32 minutes per game, 17 points per game, 5 boards, 1.3 assists, and shot 40% from 3 and 46% from the field. When he got minutes, when he got opportunities, he produced on the offensive end. And you know those numbers are going to improve as he gets more into a rhythm, as he gets his legs under him at the NBA level. Those offensive numbers, the production, the efficiency, it's only going to get better. It's already good. That's the exciting thing. Dalton Knecht's production is already good as an offensive player. If you have any hope that he can become anywhere near an average defensive player, you really have something in him. You have a real weapon, even if he just projects out to be an off-the-bench scoring guy for the Lakers. That is a significant and real weapon that the team could use. Again, you have to give something in order to get something. So what are the Lakers going to be willing to part with? Could they part with their 2031 pick instead of Knecht? Might they be able to find somebody just using expiring contracts with Maxi Kleber and Gabe Vincent? Is that a possibility? But I don't think Dalton Knecht should be undersold simply because he didn't play this year in the playoffs and we saw him fall out of the rotation late in the season. That doesn't mean he's not a very talented player. He absolutely is. And I think he could be a major piece for the Lakers moving forward. So when we're looking at hypothetical trades for the Lakers and different things they could potentially do, I think it's important to remember that Dalton Knecht has real value as a player, both to the Lakers and around the NBA. He is not just a throw-in. And if the Lakers wind up keeping him, I'm going to be really excited to see what he can provide for them next season. Again, it could be that they're just out of options and that's who they're going to wind up trading. They already traded him once. Maybe that's the path we wind up going down. But this is a talented player and he should not be undersold. He is a valuable player for this Lakers team moving forward. And I think the only way they trade him is if they're getting something significant back in return. Lakers Nation, give me your thoughts on the Lakers trade assets, how they should prioritize those things. Is it the 2031 pick? Does that have more value than Dalton Knecht? Is it the inverse of that? And should Knecht be the guy to watch Game 7? So come join us today right here on the Basketball Bulletin YouTube channel. We'll be live 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, breaking down the game and talking hoops with all of you. So come hang out with us today for Game 7. So this meeting here, Giannis Antetokounmpo scheduled to meet with the Bucks. This is Chris Haynes reporting on it. It gives a lot of detail here on exactly what is about to go down. So let's give this a look.
I was told the Bucks made contact with Giannis Antetokounmpo early as this morning, and sources relate to me that a meeting is expected to be scheduled for mid next week. This is where Giannis is going to have the chance to speak with Bucks brass and talk about the direction of the team. And there's a lot going on with the Bucks this offseason. Knowing Giannis personally, one of the toughest competitors we have in this league, guy who has great ambition. He wants multiple championships. That's all he wants to do, is be put in a position where he can play alongside a team that has a chance to fight for a title. This is going to be a very, very crucial meeting next week.
See, that right there, that right there, to me, that's everything. That's everything right there. He wants to be in a position where he can win multiple championships. He's already won a championship. He wants to win more. He feels like he needs to win more championships in order for his career to be complete. He's 30 years old. He is one of the all-time greats that we've seen in this league. He is an absolutely phenomenal player, but he doesn't feel like his career is going to be complete unless he wins multiple championships. Well, guess what? It can't happen in Milwaukee. It's not happening. They're done. It cannot happen in Milwaukee. Look, if Giannis decides he wants to stay a Milwaukee Buck for the rest of his career, there is something valid and noble about that, right? Spending your entire career with one team. It doesn't happen very often anymore. Would be cool to see. If he wants to win a championship, though, if that's more important to him, he's going to have to leave. Milwaukee is not set up to win a championship. Their window has shut. They're done. They're not winning another championship. Now, the Bucks will try during that meeting to convince Giannis Antetokounmpo that, oh, no, we have a way we can contend for a championship. I don't see it. You look at their cap sheet, and it does not make sense. They don't have the flexibility. They don't have the future assets, and now you are down Damian Lillard on, terrible injury, torn Achilles. He is probably out all of next season. The Bucks, they sure as hell are not winning a title next season. So what are they going to do in order to convince Giannis Antetokounmpo that he can win? I actually think it would be the best for the Bucks, maybe not financially, but the best for the Bucks in terms of eventually winning basketball, to work with Giannis and find a trade, because I think they're going to get a haul. They are going to get so much in exchange for Giannis Antetokounmpo that they could very well build the future of this club based on the foundation that the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade will provide them with. So I think it could actually be in the best interest of the Bucks for these two to part sides, but I'll tell you what is for sure, it's in the best interest of Giannis Antetokounmpo to leave the Milwaukee Bucks if his desire is indeed to win championships, which is what Chris Haynes was just talking about. Now, Kurt Helene of NBC Sports did a nice breakdown here on who would be interested in Giannis. First and foremost, though, let's be real. Everyone is interested. 29 teams are making the call on Giannis. 29 teams are making the phone call to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's how damn good he is. They're all making that call. But San Antonio, very clear. They got the number 2 pick in the draft. That would be an attractive asset they can put in the trade. They've got other pieces. Could you get Stephon Castle out of San Antonio if it's Giannis Antetokounmpo? Again, this is Giannis. He's under contract for at least 2 years, has a third-year player option. This is not a player like Kevin Durant, who is 1 year away from free agency and can dictate his landing spot. Giannis can try to work with the Bucks, can say, hey, I'd like to go to teams X, Y, or Z, but ultimately the Bucks are in the driver's seat and they're going to get to pick where Giannis goes. But it would make sense for Giannis to want to go to San Antonio. That's a club that is ready to win right now. They've got Wemby, an incredible talent, paired with Giannis. They're immediately a title contender, even if it costs them Stephon Castle, who's the reigning rookie of the year. They've got Harrison Barnes. They've got Keldon Johnson. They've got the number 2 pick in this year's draft. Again, we talk about building the foundation of the future of the Bucks. San Antonio can provide that while putting Giannis in a position to win right now. Meanwhile, the Houston Rockets, another team. Unfortunately, Houston, from their perspective, did not move up. In fact, they finished with the 10th pick in the NBA draft. They've got that Phoenix pick. But get this, I think this is really fascinating. Helene reporting here. League sources told NBC Sports the Bucks may be higher on a Jalen Green-based trade than Alperen Sengun. Houston would be open to trading Sengun. This is shocking to me. I would rank Sengun far above Jalen Green. And I like Jalen Green just fine. He's just streaky as hell. But I would much prefer, if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, Alperen Sengun. Maybe they just feel like Jalen Green has some upside that's been untapped. And look, that I think there's something to that. That's fair. But nonetheless, I think Sengun is in a different tier, certainly, than Jalen Green right now. But nonetheless, this is a report that the Bucks may be higher on a Jalen Green-based trade. Now, maybe that's because there's other pieces that would be coming in a Jalen Green-based trade that would not also be included in a trade based around somebody like Alperen Şengün, though those conversations probably have not really been had in great detail at this point when we've yet to get Giannis officially asking out of Milwaukee, which again could be happening middle of this week. Jabari Smith Jr. likely to be part of any deal, and the Rockets have a lot of future first-round picks, including Phoenix picks. That's where, look, right now, a lot of teams would like to be in the business of shorting the future of the Phoenix Suns. That franchise is a mess and doesn't look like they have a very bright future. So those picks are extremely valuable. Now, could the Houston Rockets beat an offer presented by the San Antonio Spurs? Potentially. I think it would be a really interesting bidding war. But the two Texas teams there, assuming the third team and the Dallas Mavericks don't want to give up that number one overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets, they can very well wind up being the two teams that battle it out for Giannis as the primary landing spots for him, should he, as I'm expecting, middle of this week, ask out of Milwaukee. Now, the Brooklyn Nets trading for Antetokounmpo is Brooklyn's plan A. They have a lot of future draft picks they could throw into a deal, including number 8 this year with Cam Johnson at the heart of the package. Now, yet it may be D'Angelo Russell as well, though I would certainly hesitate to cite D'Lo because he is a free agent, so then you're getting into a sign and trade or something like that. But would Giannis be okay with this? Look, the Milwaukee Bucks, we've talked about it. They will work with Giannis to find a trade. If Giannis asks out, they're not going to send him to basketball Siberia. They're not going to send him to a team that has no shot to win. Why? Because Giannis has been the MVP as a Milwaukee Buck. He's brought a title to the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to work with him. They're going to want to send him to a place he wants to go as long as they can get the kind of return that they want. I don't think they're going to do something like send Giannis to a team he doesn't want to go to. I don't know. If you're the Brooklyn Nets, yes, you want Giannis Antetokounmpo, but you better have a solid plan of how you're going to build a contender if you do land him from day one. That would have to be explained to Giannis ahead of time, and Giannis would probably have to sign off on that. And that is the big question mark around the Brooklyn Nets and their ability to land Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's, can they present convincing proof that they have the ability to pivot and build a team immediately that can win right now if they wind up winning the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. Now, again, a lot of other teams will get in the mix. The Golden State Warriors, I talked about them the other day. They can try to get into the mix by putting together a package. They've got players, Jonathan Kuminga, perhaps in a sign and trade, Moses Moody. They do have draft capital. They've got some young talent. Brandon Pajemski certainly can't be off the table in this scenario, but maybe that's something that the Golden State Warriors could look into. Certainly, they're going to be making that call. But once again, 29 teams are making the call. The Miami Heat, they're always in on every top-level star, whether or not they can actually get them. I don't really think they have the assets to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they will do their best to try to get into the mix. My Lakers and the New York Knicks. Look, the Lakers, they can package together Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. They do have one draft pick. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough in order to truly get into the mix for Giannis. It would take Giannis saying, I want to be a Laker and only a Laker, and I do not want to play anywhere else. And even then, because he's got 2 years left under contract, that threat doesn't have as much teeth to it as it would if Giannis was going to be heading towards free agency, say next summer or something like that. Meanwhile, New York, similar situation. They've traded all their picks to get Mikal Bridges. They could package together a few players in order to go try to get Giannis. They will certainly make the call, but right now the Knicks are more worried about potentially winning an NBA championship this year than chasing after Giannis Antetokounmpo. So the bottom line, big meeting coming up this week. Again, my expectation is that Giannis will ask the Milwaukee Bucks to trade him. And if that happens, off we go. And this summer is going to be all about the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. We'll be talking about Kevin Durant and lots of other deals out there on the market. This is going to be the summer of trades around the NBA, which is why you need to make sure you do subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. We will keep you in the know. And don't forget, come hang out with us today, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. Game 7, Nuggets, Thunder. Let's go.
Giannis Antetokounmpo drops cryptic clues about next team amid trade buzz. While the NBA playoffs are ongoing, several teams are preparing for the offseason. With the offseason comes the speculation about star players potentially moving to new teams. The basketball world was stunned when former Dallas Mavericks star Luka Doncic was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis and other assets during the season. Now, another top player could be on the move, Milwaukee Bucks star forward Giannis Antetokounmpo. The 12-year NBA veteran has spent his entire career in Milwaukee, leading the team to its first championship since 1971 when the Bucks won the title in 2021. Antetokounmpo is the franchise leader in several categories, including games played, points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. According to a report by ESPN's Shams Charania, following another early playoff exit for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, the star is considering potential teams that might be a better fit for him outside of Milwaukee. This has sparked speculation about where he could end up next season. Antetokounmpo further fueled these rumors during a Q&A session on X. When asked which city, apart from his hometown of Athens, Greece has made him the happiest to visit, he responded by saying it was the Florida cities. Florida has two NBA teams, the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. NBC Sports suggested that the Heat could be a potential destination for Antetokounmpo. Writer Kurt Helene pointed out that Miami has struggled in recent years and needs to make significant changes to compete. Helene feels the challenge is that the Heat lack the draft picks the Bucks would want in a trade. A deal involving Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, and Nikola Jovic could work salary-wise, but the Bucks would likely prefer Tyler Herro. Miami can only offer a limited number of future first-round picks, which may not satisfy a rebuilding Bucks team. Nevertheless, expect ongoing trade rumors, as Heat team president Pat Riley is known for making bold moves. This follows reports indicating that Antetokounmpo is intrigued by the prospect of playing in a state without income tax. This speculation has led some to believe he might be considering teams like the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, or Dallas Mavericks, because Texas has no state income tax. However, it's worth noting that Florida also has no state income tax. The rumors continued during his recent Q&A session. When asked about his favorite city to play in on the road, he mentioned New York, which prompted discussions about potential interest from the New York Knicks. Helene compared the Knicks to the Los Angeles Lakers as potential landing spots for Antetokounmpo, noting both teams lack the necessary picks and players for a trade. The Lakers can offer Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, plus other smaller salaried players and might need a third team, but they only have one tradable first-round pick. Similarly, the Knicks, having traded away their picks in the Mikal Bridges deal, cannot offer anything appealing to the Bucks. A possible trade involving OG Anunoby and others wouldn't provide the young talent or picks Milwaukee desires. Only time will tell if Antetokounmpo will no longer wear a Milwaukee jersey next season. And you, fan, what do you think about Giannis Antetokounmpo situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.